Hello and welcome again to another Battle Ready. This time we thought we would talk, every Monday, about once a week, we talk about, our thoughts about the hobby and reviews, things like that. Warhammer centric mostly, so far only. But I thought, we've been mostly talking about what armies we like on the table, what things are fun, how we like to play the game, all that sort of stuff. But there's a whole other layer to wargaming, and that's what I've heard called the hobby side. You praising it, or you
No.
smashing a fly?
Just trying to smash a mosquito. But also praising it.
Also praising it.
Both.
So the hobby side, though, is everything that happens before you actually start your game. So that's things like the building of the models, converting models if you want to sort of, get a mashup, kit bash things and, take the head of one and the body of another and make something sort of unique. It's painting, and it's also the lore, right? And it's interesting is you can enjoy any one of those pieces, the building, the painting, or the lore, without ever playing the game. In fact, there's lots of people who are really interested in the Black Library novels, not so interested in playing a game. Lots of people who love to paint for display because they enjoy the painting don't really roll dice. So I thought we'd get our thoughts on those sorts of things. So Drake, let's start with building. Do you like building? Do you hate building? What are your thoughts on building?
I don't like building because to me it's just me staring at a plastic gray blob.
Plastic gray. You don't like the gray blobs?
No, I do not. I don't like gray blobs.
That's interesting. Building, other than playing, building might be my favorite. I love to take little pieces and put them all together. It's a little bit more, I don't know, handsy than Legos, which I also liked as a kid. But I really like the building. I really like taking a sprue of just totally nonsense pieces that don't really look like anything, and then slowly but surely clipping them out, sanding them down, and building them up to look like the cool models that we have, right? The finished models look pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that process.
When I finish the model, it looks like a slightly more defined gray blob.
Slightly more. Well, let's talk about how we stop them from being gray blobs. What are your thoughts on painting? You like the painting part?
Yes.
All right, what do you like about the painting part?
I like that first of all, you get to turn your gray blob into something amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, there's infinite ways to experiment, use certain techniques, and there's just so much you can do.
Who's your most recent painting project?
Scragrat the Loon King.
The Loon King. He's pretty cool because he's got the robes, he's got the little squig buddies, he's got the moon stick, he's got his crown.
The moon on a stick.
So there's lots of things to paint on him. Are you enjoying it?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a great painter by any stretch of the imagination, but, I've definitely improved over time, but I don't enjoy painting really at all. I enjoy having painted models. The game is so much funner with painted models on the table than it is with a gray blob. I mean, just a million times more. So painting, I feel, is like something necessary that I have to do. I feel about painting the way I sort of feel about changing the garbage disposal. It's not fun. I don't want to do it. I'm not looking forward to it as part of my day. But I am looking forward to having a working garbage disposal. And once I fix it and replace it, I do sort of get a sense of, do-it-yourself, DIY type pride. I'm like, hey, I did that. That's cool. I fixed that. And I do get that with painting, where I'm glad I did it. I enjoy the finished product. But I know a lot of people find the act of painting very relaxing, or they enjoy it as sort of a hobby unto itself. And that's awesome. That's 100% great. I think there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, I wish I liked it more, but it's just not my favorite. I do it because it makes the game a million times more immersive and fun and narrative driven. And
Well, technically, it would be very narrative driven if a whole new storm host of great Stormcasts.
The Gray Knights show up, right? Yeah, but then they have gray weapons and gray
Yes.
satchels and gray dirt at their feet.
Yeah.
Actually, no dirt at their feet, just black, smooth plastic bases at their feet.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the as much as I don't like painting, the amount of I get from painting is way less than the amount of joy I get from playing with a painted army. So I do it and I like the benefits, but it's not my favorite thing in the moment. All right, what about lore? So that's another thing I think people can get really into is the stories. Games Workshop has their whole Black Library publishing arm filled with novels and ebooks and audiobooks and even audio dramas. Some of the stories have become audio dramas. What are your thoughts on the stories? Do you like reading the stories?
I like them because like they give you a sense of that there's millions of things that are happening in the Mortal Realms, not just one sole thing that you get from Warhammer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Because in the like Battle Tomes, it's only talking about the main things that are happening to this place.
Yeah, that's true.
People.
If you get the Stormcast Battle Tome, it's going to be mostly about how the Stormcast see things, right?
And how bad chaos is. But if you get a chaos,
If you get a Chaos book, if you get your Maggotkin of Nurgle book, it's going to be all through the perspective of the Nurgleites.
and
right?
how Plague is amazing when it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
But one of the things that the books often do that I really like is it really starts to put two or more factions together or against each other. So even though the battle tomes often hint a little bit about those sorts of things, the books really do a great job. I mean, one great example is I've been reading the short stories in Thunderstrike. I think it's Thunderstrike and Other Short Stories. It's the short story compilation that just came out with the Dominion Rule stuff. It's the new one. Anyway, but there's a short story in there about a branch witch. Maybe. I think it's a branch witch. It's some kind of Sylvaneth thing. I don't know the Sylvaneth very well, but it's some kind of Sylvaneth thing that has been captured by a Hedonites of Slaanesh warlord.
I thought it was going to be Beasts of Chaos.
Yeah, it's a Hedonites Slaanesh guy. And it's really interesting because, I've read the Hedonites tome. I haven't read the Sylvaneth tome, but I've read the Hedonites tome. There's both this old one and the newer one. There's nothing in there about their involvement with the Sylvaneth, right? They're pretty different.
Nothing.
But in the story, you can see how they relate to one another and how they cause problems for each other and what the opinions are one to the next. And so it really makes the world feel more alive. It really gives you a sense of a greater thing going on. And I think one of the things I think is so great about that is it, for me anyway, really translates to the tabletop. If I have people that are, little toy soldiers on the mat, cool, whatever, I can roll dice, it'll be fun. But if I know, this particular storm host was involved in this conflict, and hey, I know what they think about the Beasts of Chaos across the map from them. And if my opponent says, oh yeah, my Beasts of Chaos, these ones have been part of that group that really, tried to stymie the Hollowed Knights when they were fighting the Dirge Horn. Suddenly you get to build up a little bit more than just what the rules would tell you. And I think that does a great job of enhancing the experience of the game. So I'm a big fan of the lore. You read all the adventure series.
Yes.
You enjoyed it?
Yes.
Okay, what did you like the most about it?
The Caradron one.
No. I mean, but what about it? What did you like about it?
I like that there can be several different stories happening once in the Mortal Realms.
Yeah. And in that series, how they all sort of interrelate, right?
Mm-hmm.
They all come back together. So the lore is fantastic. In fact, I'm not a huge, it's bad to say, but I'm not a huge reader. I read a lot for my day job, and so I don't read a lot for pleasure. But getting into the lore of the Black Library, particularly Age of Sigmar, I've been reading a lot more, and I've been really enjoying it. The books aren't, The Great Gatsby or the classic novels where there's layers and layers of hidden depth and meaning and symbolism. They're not a challenge. They don't challenge you, but they're great stories, and it's like watching a Marvel movie or something like that. It's a great story that gives you a lot of insight and also enhances at least the way I see the tabletop game. So, any other thoughts?
Wow.
Well, of course, blah. So that's been some of our thoughts on the sort of the hobby surrounding wargaming. And if you get into any kind of war game, right, you're always going to have to put models together, paint them.
Well, sometimes you can buy the straight model.
Yeah, I mean, there are places that will sell pre-painted models or pre-painted terrain, and that's all great. But you're going to have to decide which models you want to get, and then you're going to have to build your warband. And we'll talk about that at some point, where it's not just about
maybe once we've
doing
started
that, but
playing
once you
Path.
want to. I'm sorry.
Maybe once we start playing Path, we'll talk about building more bands.
Yeah, because once you have all that, and you need to decide what models you want to take, and there's a whole way that you look and say, all right, well, I need something that hits hard, and I need something that can hold an objective, and there's all that too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just as much as part of the game as actually rolling the dice and playing. But that hobby side is going to be there for basically any war game you play, and you should know that and find enjoyment in it. For me, I love the building, I love the lore. I don't love the painting, but I find the enjoyment in it when I see the results on the table. For you, Drake, of all those things, what's your favorite?
Painting.
Painting's your favorite?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Maybe I'll start having you paint my models so I don't have to paint them anymore. No, you don't want to paint?
Unless I get your paints.
Yeah, I do have more paints than you do.
Yes, I do need to buy more paints. And probably some better brushes, because all I have is like Kirkle brushes.
Yeah.
I do need some better brushes.
I should get you some better brushes. Maybe we'll do that. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. This has been Battle Ready.